Okay. Hello, this is Niels for Africa News Analysis. Right now I'm at the Kunsthaus Kule. The Kunsthaus Kule is one of the locations of the Black Berlin Biennale, and we want to report about that. And today I have the pleasure to meet up with Natasha Kelly, and we would like to talk about her art. So first of all, Natasha, thank you for taking the time to give us this interview.
Yes, thank you.
First question, first of all, I would like to start with a general question. I would like to know, how did you get into arts?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, actually. I am a, shall I take this? I have a PhD in communication studies, and I worked in linguistics for a very long time. So I'm an author firsthand. My actual tool is writing. And I started writing, I started dealing with linguistics, and I focus on colonialism and feminism in a German context. And but dealing with language, especially in Germany, it always ties you to discussions. Yeah, when I'm dealing with racism, people would always say, "Oh, it's just your interpretation of things." No, they weren't seeing the structural dimensions of racism. So I started looking at images and went from linguistic communication to visual communication, because as they say, a picture says more than 1,000 words. So I could cut the long discussions by saying this is not an interpretation, because people could actually see what I was talking about. And then I got more and more involved in visual communication, so dealing with artworks to back up my thesis, and that's how I landed in the arts and culture scene.
Mm-hmm. And is art, in your opinion, a good medium of communication?
Yes, for me, art is communication. Definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, and that then leads you directly to the next question. So what do you want to communicate with your art then?
Well, it depends on what kind of art I do. I do different art. So this exhibition, for example, I curated. These are not my artworks. They're artworks from different members of the BZAM movement. BZAM is the Black Speculative Arts Movement. It's a global art movement of black, mainly graphic designers, located in different countries, started in the US, and then moved to Europe, to the UK, to here in Berlin, to Africa, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, and Brazil. So there are members from all over the world, practically, that share the common idea of creating futures and Afrofutures. And so in general, I deal with the untouchable phenomenon like racism and sexism in my works. Or when I curate, I tell stories of the past, present, and future, especially of black people who live in Germany. Because we have a long history, we go back a long way to the 11th, 12th century, where Germany didn't even really exist in its borders today. And so art allows to take us back to the past to create new futures, as in this case, an Afrofuturist approach, or to travel into the future and to create, the world free of racism and free of sexism, what we're all fighting against. No? So, yeah. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. You actually just mentioned black people living in Germany. There's been a lot going on during the last weeks and months, like, for example, Black Lives Matters. So how, in your opinion, has the situation of black people living in Germany changed during the last years, in your opinion?
Well, I've been doing this work for the past 25 years, and I do see that we've made great progress in actually, calling for demands, becoming part of a global movement, becoming a real appreciated member of the diaspora, let's put it that way. I think what has changed is that we have been able to, as a community, although a community doesn't really exist. The community in itself in Germany is also very diverse, the black community. But I think there are different organizations that have done great jobs, starting from changing street names to there's a lot of work being done in museums of sending artifacts back to certain countries. I think that the Berlin Biennial, the people behind this, Aditon and Michael Kuppers-Adebisi, they were also involved in taking the skulls back to Namibia, for example. There are a lot of new organizations that have grown in the past years, like IOTO, Each One Teach One, which is a black library and archive where you can find different books and stuff like that. There are smaller organizations, lots of people doing really good work. So I see that that's been growing over the years. And I would say in the last, in comparison to the last weeks, what happened to the after George Floyd, or after the killing of George Floyd went viral, is practically that the topics that we've been working on for decades have now reached the center of society. So it's like mainstream white people are also starting to deal with our issues, have become interested in the discourse that we're leading, and are now actually see their role and their responsibility in the context of racism, and that's changed since George Floyd a lot. I don't know. There are so many things and people, organizations, politicians who've been calling me and want, background information, are really digging deep into the topic. And this is definitely something new that has reached the mainstream. Yes, that's...
Okay, so how important are events like, for example, the Black Berlin Biennale, which we have going on right now, in your opinion, in order to create attention and to create interest for the topic?
I think very important. Yeah, I think exhibitions like this, or the Black Biennale in general, but also some of the organizations and other projects that I just mentioned are really important because they exist beyond the Eurocentric institutional structures. Yeah, I think this is one of the most important points of this Black Berlin Biennial, that it really is a space that I could create without having to pay attention to what white people may think, how they might feel, if they get guilty or their fragility or anything like that. It is a safe space, and we need these safe spaces. We need spaces to be able to be creative and not to react to racist structures all the time. So I think, yeah, very important. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and could you, last but not least, since we are right now at the Kunsthaus Kule and we have some very interesting paintings here in the background, also tell us a little bit, whatever you want, about the paintings which we can see right now here in the background?
Well, these are, like I said, paintings from all members of the Black Speculative Arts movement, apart from those ones over there. They're historical drawings from W.E.B. Du Bois students, which show, and W.E.B. Du Bois was one of the pioneers of Afrofuturism. So this is actually a little bit showing the development of Afrofuturism as a genre in itself, yeah? Starting from the early or late 19th century through to the 1920s, to the 1950s, right up to contemporary art. And there are different fields of Afrofuturism, so it reaches from historic to more media, comic, to collages, and here behind us is more like the whole mythology that is behind the idea of Afrofuturism, where some of these artists especially reconnect to their ancestors in one sense, but also redefine the past, or redefine past futures, let's put it that way. So there are also many different fields that I would say connect to the whole Afrofuturist idea that you can see here in this exhibition. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great. And until when can we see it here? And what are your plans for the future, last but not least?
Well, actually, the exhibition is closing now, so the last chance to see the exhibition will be on Sunday the 4th, tomorrow. And I have a lot of plans for the future, actually. This exhibition will be going to another location, but that will be next year. I also do theatre, so like I said before, I write books, that's what I do, and my books have also been put on stage. So in May next year, I'm waiting for my the Germany premiere of my book Afrokultur, which also deals with W.E.B. Du Bois, and that will be at the Düsseldorfer Schauspielhaus. It's a play that has also been put on I already showed in Brazil and in the USA, and now we have the German version. So it's been in 3 countries in 3 languages, showing how Afroculture from a German perspective is also adaptable in other Afrocultural contexts. And I'm looking forward to the German version because we also will be working with a classic orchestra. And in Brazil, we worked with Afro-Brazilian percussionists, and in the US with Afro-Brazilian singers, with African-American singer-songwriters. So the show in itself shows how Afroculture is adapted to wherever we are rooted as Black people. And I'm looking forward to the German version because in Germany, people don't expect Black German history to be a part of Germany, but it is. And this play shows how. So save the date, 2nd of May 2021, Düsseldorfer Schauspielhaus. So that's when the next official happening will take place. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we will definitely do so. We will save the date, the 2nd of May in Düsseldorf, and we are very much looking forward to meeting up with you again in Düsseldorf on the 2nd of May. So thank you very much for the interview.
You're welcome. Thank you.